Now that you are living in the divine will, God will start to work on you. That was Jesus' promise to Louisa. Slowly but surely, God will purify you. Since you are living in His holy will, He will take out of you the sins and bad habits that don't belong in you. As He does this, He will start filling you up with His qualities. So out with the bad and in with the good. As an example, instead of you developing a 10-step program to get rid of pride, you need only stay in the divine will and God will do the work. Soon you will find yourself sinning less and less. God is bringing you to holiness. At the same time, the work of purification is being done. God will do other things to prepare you for heaven. He will take out of you worldly attitudes. He will heal you from hurts from the past that still bother you. He will explain the things of heaven to you and take away the lies the world and Satan tell you. Sometimes these lessons can be difficult, but they are worth the trouble because you are getting ready for heaven. Let's face it, no one in heaven believes money and things are important to be happy. God loves you personally and individually. God created you. You are everything to God. You are God's little child. You are now living in the divine will. Except for an occasional fall back into your human will, you are living the same life that Adam and Eve lived before they disobeyed God. Even though you may not feel any different, you have taken your first steps into heaven on earth. Jesus once said to Louisa, "Don't worry about being unable to do it, because I myself will teach you a little at a time how to do it. If you really want this gift, there is no way you can fail with Jesus as your teacher." As time goes on and the divine life grows in you, you will experience more and more, maybe even the miraculous. Near the end of her life, Louisa was able to raise her confessor from the dead because she didn't want to start all over with a new confessor. Maybe the birds will start landing on your shoulders like they did with Saint Francis, but don't look for the miraculous. Your day-to-day acts in the divine will are most important. This is because these are now divine acts. Jesus himself has done them because you used God's will. Louisa had a hard time believing that her simple little acts were divine. Jesus explained that everything God does is divine. Even though an act may be little, it is still divine if it is done in the divine will. God made the heavens, but He also made the tiny seed. Your day in the divine will may seem very ordinary, but it is really extraordinary. When you first start living in the divine will, it may be helpful to call upon the divine will many times during the day to do in you whatever you are doing or about to do. This will be a reminder to you that the divine will is animating all your activities. You wash your face, you eat your lunch, you say your prayers, you do your schoolwork, all divine acts. As you grow in this gift, you will not have to remind yourself about the divine will because you will constantly be aware of the gift throughout the day. The divine will is filling you with its life. Eventually, you may not only be aware of, but be able to feel the divine will operating in you. Louisa reached a point in this divine life where she could actually feel Jesus lifting her arm. In the little house in Nazareth, the Blessed Mother's simple acts as she took care of Saint Joseph and Jesus were all divine acts. Now your home will become the little house of Nazareth as you start living the divine life as a gift from God, performing countless divine acts with every breath you take. A divine act is infinite. When a divine act is done on earth, it is like an explosion that radiates infinitely. All creation feels this explosion, and God is very pleased. These infinite divine acts spread out over all the people on earth, and God the Father sees our world more favorably. It was Mary's many acts in her life in the divine will that convinced God that the time was right to send his Son as the Messiah. It will be our many acts in the divine will that will prompt God to allow his kingdom to come on earth and fulfill the Our Father. Before the gift of living in the divine will was returned to us through Louisa, the saints could only do good and holy human acts of love for God. These were not infinite and did not radiate over all creation, covering the fallen world. So you can see how important it is to stay in the divine will and not waste time and acts in the human will. Just as with the coming of the Messiah, the Father knows exactly how many acts he wants done before he allows his kingdom to come. When you do an act in the divine will, the angels carry that act to the throne of the Father. The Father is infinitely pleased with this act, and he sends a wave out over all creation. The blessed in heaven and the angels receive a greater glory. The souls in purgatory receive a wave of relief, and all of creation receives a blessing. Since all acts in the divine will are divine, one act cannot be more divine than another. Yet God will respond differently to acts done in the divine will. The act of cleaning your room in the divine will cause the Father to send out a wave of glory and grace, whereas receiving Holy Communion in the divine will pours out a sacramental grace on all souls. It is amazing to think that if you go to communion today in the divine will, even the worst criminals are given a sacramental grace that they never asked for or knew they were getting. They might just wake up feeling a little less rotten and not understand why. However, it is up to each individual to respond to the grace that is poured out upon them. Many will not respond at first because they are caught in their lives of sin, but if they are continually bombarded with the wave of unmerited graces caused by many acts done by those living in the divine will, eventually some will respond. You can see how this wave of grace caused by acts done in the divine will can change the world. The prophets in the Bible have foretold a great era of peace that the world will experience for 1,000 years. The gift of the divine will is God's plan to usher it in. Not only will the divine will purify us, but the gift will purify the world at the same time and bring about the completion of God's kingdom on earth.